Let's get more on that operation along the Turkey-Syria border. TRT World's correspondent Ediz Tiyansan and his team were the first international journalists to enter the newly liberated city of Jarablus, and he's back in Istanbul. He joins us live. Very great to have you back, Ediz, safe and sound. Now, we saw in your reports the joy and the liberation on the people's faces in the city of Jarablus. But this is a town or a city that has been under the control of Daesh for 17 months. You must have heard some horrific stories during that time.
Indeed, only stories of oppression and brutality really come out of that area. We've spent a few hours as these people were receiving humanitarian aid. Kızılay, the Turkish Red Crescent, along with AFAD, they provide about 5,000 meals every day now that FSA has managed to capture the city. And we've asked them what it was like before, and they said we've spent 17 months of starvation. They told us stories about how the Daesh militants would confiscate literally any limited resources they had, from their livestock to their cash money. Even some of their houses were actually confiscated from them. So they were literally colonized. But even then, I think starvation was really the least of their problems. They were barely trying to survive this regime, which, according to some of the stories we've heard, constantly were executing people in public places. They were in fact encouraged. They were forced to come out and watch these sporadic executions that were taking place just outside at the center of Jarablus. And they told us they were beating men for not having the right standard of beard. They were beating up women for having their faces visible on the streets, and really any reason they had that they didn't fit to their Islamic ideology, they could go as far as to kill them. And some of those stories of killing are pretty horrific. And this is what one of the inhabitants of Jarablus had to say to us.
Tortured us. They hit women if their faces were uncovered. And they hit men for short beards. They killed them here in this open space. They would behead them with big axes in a single swing. And we would see their heads rolling on the streets and pools of blood everywhere.
It's incredible to imagine living like that. And when you were there, you said you went to a site that was a Daesh prison, but now there are Daesh captives there. Tell us a bit about this.
Indeed, all of these buildings had to be calmed for booby traps or leftover IEDs. And one of the buildings they managed to secure now is used as their security compound, which was one used by Daesh as their prison, as you said. And when we walked in, we witnessed also another horrific scene where these prison cells were literally like tiny storage rooms lined up next to each other. Each room was about 5-6 meters square in size, and just only comes up to my height, really, less than 2 meters. And they told us just the day they captured the city, they found in some cells up to 10 to 15 people. And really, you can imagine that these people barely had any space to even sit down, forget about sleeping. And we also noticed that 2 Daesh fighters were caught as they were withdrawing from the city. As the FSA fighters captured Jarablus, they were holding on to these 2 captives. And one of them we managed to interview. He said that they were there to launch the Islamic State, which would be based on the Sharia law. And he openly said that anybody who opposed this regime or didn't agree with the Sharia law, they'd be more than willing to kill right away. And he said the number of those killed in Jarablus, for whatever reason it may be, were as high as 400 to 500. And this is really the one number that he tells us, but we still don't know how much higher that number can be. But this exclusive interview with a Daesh captive, as well as those prisons, will be airing on TRT World later this evening.
Well, we certainly look forward to that. And despite how difficult it must have been to report on this story, you did a great job. So thanks very much for your time. It is Tiyansan there.